So today I am going to show you how to make Coronation chicken. Coronation chicken was originally made for the Queen in 1953 for her banquet for her coronation, hence the name Coronation chicken. The original recipe used a sweet curry mayonnaise mixed with chicken, and it was to go in sandwiches, but this is my version and I'm going to show you how to cook it for a main meal. It's got a few twists in it. There are a few ingredients that you may not like. You don't have to include them. However, it is always good to put vegetables in your curry. This is a favourite in our household, so I hope you enjoy. The first thing you'll need is cooked chicken. This is left over from a roast dinner, and 2 large breasts will feed 4 people. How could you adapt this for another diet? So chilies are optional, peas are also optional, but they're very good in this dish. You could add peppers if you like. Any kind of plain yoghurt, but not naturally set. What kind of dairy-free options are available? You will need 2 medium-sized onions, some coriander, which is optional, half a jar of mango chutney, 2 heaped tablespoons of curry powder. You can get curry powder in mild, medium and hot. You can choose depending on your tastes. You will need a sharp knife, a chopping board, bowls to separate your ingredients, wok or a large frying pan, a wooden or a plastic spoon to stir, a tablespoon of cooking oil and a hot soapy cloth for cleaning. First you need to wash your hands. So we'll need our chopping board and our knife, and we're going to prepare our onions. Onions release a chemical when you cut into them that react with your tear ducts. There's not much you can do to avoid this except use mild onions. I'm going to top and tail this onion. So now I'm going to slice through the first layer of the skin, or the first onion layer. This makes it really easy to peel off. So using the bridge method, I'm going to cut through the middle of the onion. So now I'm going to place the onions flat. I'm going to use the claw technique, which will protect my fingers so it will slide over my knuckles and my nails and not cut me. I'm cutting into the onion all the way down to the bottom of the board, but not all the way back. This means the onion is still all attached. Now turning the onion round with the joint bit underneath my hands, I can slice very thinly, and this means my onion pieces will be very small. With the last little bit, I'm just going to turn it round, and it's the same thing with my claw, cut it into small pieces. I will prepare the remaining onions in exactly the same way. It's important to keep your workstation tidy, so I'm going to move my onions to one side for later and put them in a bowl. With my chilli, I'm going to cut down the middle, and I'm not going to cut off the calyx, which is the top part. This means it will stay together. When I open it up, I can remove the seeds if I like it milder. We like our food hot, so we leave the seeds in. I'm now cutting down the middle again to create 4 quarters. So I've changed my knife to show you a different method. I'm going to hold the tip of the knife on the board and use it as a pivot, still holding my vegetable in a claw, and then I'm going to slice in the same way, moving my fingers back every time. If you are using chilies, please don't touch your eyes, it will really sting. Now for the coriander, which is an optional ingredient. Lots of people don't like it, I love it. We're going to scrunch it into a little bowl, including the stems, which have the most flavour, and then slice it as finely as possible. Because I only have one chopping board, I'm cutting the chicken last to avoid cross-contamination. The first thing I'm doing is checking for chicken bones. You might come across them when you cut up the chicken. And then I'm going to cut them into roughly the same size. This is so that they cook through or heat through evenly. It's really important to wash your hands after dealing with meat. So this is where you'll need your wok or large frying pan. Make sure your handle's out to the side so you don't knock it off. You'll also need a wooden or a plastic spoon to stir with. Put the hob on a medium heat, which is about halfway. Add a tablespoon of oil to the pan and let it heat up for about 2 to 3 minutes. You know it's hot enough when you put your hand way above the pan and there's heat coming from it. So now I'm going to add my onions and my chilli. If you've got peppers or other vegetables that are not frozen, add them now. Fry them until they've changed colour and a bit softer. Still on the same heat, I'm going to add my curry powder and fry it for about a minute. I'm now adding the frozen peas or frozen vegetable, whatever you decide to put in there. I'm going to fry them until the peas have changed colour. They'll usually go a lot greener. If you are using any vegetarian substitutes, you add them at this point, or fish or prawns. Now I'm adding half a jar of mango chutney. You can add more if you'd like, but you can add this at the end. If you put too much in, you can't take it out, but you can always add more. Okay, so I kind of lost the video for this part. So I've added the chicken and I've stirred it for about 2 to 3 minutes. I've turned the heat right down low because otherwise the yoghurt would split. Here I'm going to add the natural yoghurt or substitute. I've added about half a pint, which is enough to make a good sauce. You can add more if you want it more saucy or less, it's up to you. Lastly, add the coriander and warm it through for 3 or 4 minutes. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know how it goes and don't forget to send your pictures in.